Okay, so thank you. I'd like to begin out by thanking everyone for coming out. We understand, it's sort of late in the evening and midterms are coming up, but we really appreciate your interest in our iidata convention. So I just wanted to start out by introducing everyone up here. So I'm going to start off. My name is Cindy. I am a computational statistics major, and I'm one of the co-founders of the iidata convention.
I'm Patrick. I am a statistics and economics major. I'm a fourth year, and I am the head of the finance team.
I'm Graham. I'm an applied stats major, and I'm head of the academic team.
My name is Yuji. I'm part of the academic team, and I am an applied stats major as well, but focusing more on cellular and molecular bio.
Hi everyone, my name is Carmen. I'm one of the co-founders for iidata. My major is statistics and managerial econ, and I'm a fourth year.
Cool. And do we have any iidata committee board members out there? Can you wave a hand? Awesome, yeah. So let's just begin out right now. So iidata. What? So essentially what iidata is a data science convention aimed at creating this learning environment for students who are interested in big data or data science and they want to learn more about these topics. It doesn't matter if you're just a beginner or you've been researching this topic for quite a while now. So some background details. This event is going to be held on May 21st. It is going to start at 10 a.m. That's when our opening ceremony is at, and it's going to end at 5 p.m. when we're announcing results and we're closing things up. And it's going to be here at UC Davis Conference Center. All right, so that's just the nitty-gritty details about the logistics behind everything. Now, what is actually going to be happening at this iidata data science convention, you say? Well, we're thinking of breaking it up into these categories. This is the first few. We're going to have workshops. And all of these board members, we're all going to be going in detail. I'm just going through a brief run over each one specifically. So workshops. If you ever want to learn a different, programming language for data science, or you want to sharpen up any of your professional skills, or just any of those, just learning anything else, these are the workshops. In addition, we have networking experiences. If you want to connect with other people who are studying similar subjects or also are interested in data science, we're going to have those events as well. And we're inviting in quite a few exciting guest speakers that Carmen will be talking about later. In addition, these are going to be the highlights of iidata. So we are first going to have a research exhibition, which is pretty much if you've been doing research, you can present it to fellow students and professors. It's pretty exciting. And then the super exciting competitions is the prediction long-term competition, where you're trying to create a predictive model and seeing how well it is compared to other people's. And then our on-site timed analysis competition, where you're given 4 hours, a data set. You can have some teammates, some questions, go. It's pretty exciting, and definitely it's going to be a first time trying it, so you should definitely all try it. It's all for the experience, so I definitely recommend giving it a shot. All right, now just talking about the admissions fees. So how much do you have to pay to get into this? Well, if you want to participate in any of the competitions like the research exhibition or the timed analysis or the long-term one, it is going to be $10 per project for the research. For the competitions, it's $10 per team. It doesn't matter if you have 1 person on your team or 4 people. But if you just want to attend for the workshops, for the networking, or to see some of the guest speakers that we'll be inviting, it's all free, including free food. So, that is definitely one great incentive to attend our convention. All right,
so workshops. If you aren't interested in competitions because it's a bit too dense, I understand that. We have workshops for all levels possible. We will be doing workshops on R, SQL, and Python that will be more introductory, but we also might have some more advanced workshops like machine learning methods, which could be useful because you might need them for a job in the future, or just if you want to work with cool data sets and you want to get interesting results. So the workshops we tailored to all different levels. It doesn't matter what level you are. If you come to iidata, there's a workshop for you. The main focus of iidata is learning. You go to the convention. You might know a little bit, maybe a lot, but when you come out of iidata, you have more knowledge. That's the thing. We want you to have more knowledge than when you entered. So you'll get essential skills that might not be taught in courses for your employers. You could add something to your LinkedIn, for example. So like I said before, workshops are kind of like stuff that's like not usually covered in classes. A lot of like stats classes go over applied methods, for example, but they might not go over how to like use R in an advanced way or use. Anyways, so there are no grades for this event. It just all you need to do is come in with your thinking cap and just learn a lot. So next one. We'll have workshops on machine learning, R, SQL, Python. That's our planned workshops for now. Our SQL workshop will be taught by Rocky Pan. He's alumni at UC Davis. He's actually a senior actuarial analyst at Delta Dental. And so this workshop actually was taught at Berkeley before, and Stats Club went to it, and it's really useful. It really helped us in our other stats classes. So you'll be taught basic SQL queries, and a lot of the times in work you'll be working with data sets that are very large. So it's really important to know SQL so you can access these large databases. And for R, we're going to have an introductory R workshop where you'll be taught how to install a R development environment like RStudio. You'll be taught how to do vector operations, and how to do basic data cleaning and data subsetting, and also maybe some basic plotting too. And then for machine learning, we're trying to get a machine learning workshop with R, where we could do some simple algorithms such as k-nearest neighbors or naive Bayes or classification and regression trees, and you'll see how these are kind of good for non-parametric data. You might really normal, kind of weird data, and a lot of data nowadays kind of follows stuff that you won't really see in statistics 13, for example. So it's really good to have these advanced methods. So you're working with data sets that you might doing, for example. And then for Python, or not so for Python, you might be able to do introductory Python scripts and stuff, and also you might like some Python libraries like NumPy or Matplotlib, where you can do what you could do in R, for example, but also in Python. Python is a language that's kind of more popular than R right now, so they're kind of competitive. So it's good to have both of them in case you're working and they want you to use Python. So we'll also go over the differences between Python and R.
Okay, so let's talk about who are we inviting to. So one of our guest speakers is California Health and Human Service Agency. They are one of the government agency here, and then they provide open data that help us to understand human health, and they will be coming here and give a talk to us. And next one. So Dr. Carmen, he is current the CEO and the founder at Learnable, and then he was a professor in New York University, and he also was a project lead at Google. So he will come and talk to us how he used data science to change people's life. And then next one, so Professor Matlock. So how many people know Professor Matlock in this classroom? Okay, so a few. So Professor Matlock is a really great researcher, and he is a professor in UC Davis Computer Science Department. And then he is the founder of UC Davis Statistics Department also. And he is also the author of The Art of R Programming. Anyone have read this book before? Yes. It's a really great book, and it has been translated to Chinese, Korea, and Japanese, I believe. And it's a really famous book in our field. If you want to get some book to introduce you what is R and how to use R, this will be a good book that I would recommend. And he always interviewed by CNN, NBC, ABC News, and his paper is often cited by Time Magazine, The Wall Street Journal, The Economics, etc., etc. And then we have Professor Duncan. How many people know Professor Duncan? I bet more. Okay, so for people who don't know him, he is a professor at UC Davis Statistics Department, and he is a great researcher also. And he is actually one of the developers of R, and he is now currently director of Data Science Initiative. And actually, he already distributed around 100 R package. So you probably use his package in your homework. And then he also a researcher at Bell Lab. Anyone heard about Bell Lab before? So, okay. So Bell Lab is one point to point out is Bell Lab actually is the born place for C and R, and there has a lot of famous researcher work here before, and yes, the next one. And we also have industry guest speaker. So we have industry representative from Square. So anyone, if you don't know about Square, Square is the small device that you can put into your iPhone and you can swipe your cards and pay. And mostly, actually in UC Davis, a lot of shop already use Square as their device for their money transaction. And then we have American Statistical Association representative also. And more to be announced because we are also adding the links.
Alright,
Okay.
so another major part of iidata is our research exhibition. A research exhibition is essentially a research fair style event where individuals are able to submit their individual research projects or whatever they've been working on this past year or whatever they plan on working on if they have any interesting ideas. And essentially, it's a very it's essentially a no risk, high reward type of event. Especially because there are so many people coming to watch and see your project on the day iidata is held. There's a lot of, as Carmen mentioned before, there's a lot of company representatives, there's a lot of faculty members from UC Davis, faculty members from outside of UC Davis, which will give you a lot of opportunities for maybe getting connections, networking, etc. And aside from that, there really aren't that many qualifications or restrictions on what kind of projects you're allowed to submit. All we have to do is receive like an abstract of what you're up to, and as long as we approve it, it's good to go. And then you show up on the day of iidata, and what you essentially do is set up a poster board. You have your own table. You're talking to not only the people who are there, but also, or not only the other competitors, but also everyone else who's in attendance. So, and as we said before, general admission is free, so you're bound to get a lot of exposure on your research. And not only that, we also have a couple of great judges. So Professor Alexander Alley is one of them from our UC Davis Stats Department, and another one is Aaron Melkon. And on top of all of this, even though the registration fee is very, very low, we actually have a very high prize of up to $100 for the best one that the judges declare.
Okay, so as far as the competitions go, there's going to be two of them. The first one is a timed analysis competition. It's going to be the day of, and it's going to be a lot like a hackathon. Teams will be given a data set and asked to answer a bunch of questions. And while there will be specific questions, we ask you to go beyond that. In statistics and data science, you're often going to be dealing with people who don't know as much as you do, so you're going to need to not only know how to answer the questions they bring to you, but look beyond that and tell if something else is weird. So ideally, you would give the most thorough analysis you possibly could in the time allotted, whatever that may be. This is an example of the kind of thing we could give you. We could give you a bunch of car data from Craigslist, and these are the sorts of things you could look there for, look for there, etc. Yeah, who knows? The second one is going to be a predictive modeling competition. You're going to be given a big data set or a bunch of data sets and asked to model a specific thing from that. You'll have the week before the convention to work and are allowed to use absolutely anything you can think of. This is going to be important because if it's something you're not familiar with, like sports data, you're going to have to go out and learn about that sport and learn what's important and learn the kinds of things that make players good, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The data is going to be given out on May 11th, and you're going to have until 8 a.m. on May 18th. That's going to be a pretty hard deadline. And you can submit the model as many times as you want on our website. Over the period of that week, the site will tell you how well you're doing, like what your fit rate is, and until 8 a.m. you can keep doing it. So. Our judges are going to be Duncan, which you mentioned, and Professor Matloff, and Dr. Nusrat Rabi from Berkeley, along with Nick Ulay, who's a grad student here. And there's a lot of good reasons to do this. Show off your skills. Looks really good on a resume if you win. And $200 in prizes for each competition. You can compete in both, if you're wondering. Yeah. Are we still team sizes? Roughly 1 to 5. I'm not sure if we've settled exactly on that. But you can do it by yourself if you want. Undergrads and master's students can compete. And each team will be provided a PhD student as a mentor if you don't already have one at home, I guess. So yeah. The deadline for the team application deadline is May 1st, although the data for the predictive analysis, the predictive modeling competition won't be handed out until the 11th.
Okay, so we talked about a lot of information so far, and so what do you do from this point out? Okay, so what we can say is that our next steps are, if you would like any more information about any of the topics that we talked about, you can check out our website at iidata.net. We have a whole list of all the events in detail, all the little details about when the deadlines are in case you didn't write them all down. Or if you would like to meet our team, our full team is on there as well. We also have our contact email on there if you have any questions. Also, registration is now open if you want to just sign up for general admission or you want to participate in a competition. All those registration forms are now online, so you can go on there. It's going to be under the tab called Register. Okay, and next is join a competition. So we know some of you may be intimidated by the difficulty about the competitions, but really what iidata resides on is creating that learning environment. As I mentioned previously, it's just coming in and leaving with much more knowledge that you started out with. So even if you didn't really were sort of intimidated by the competition, I definitely recommend you all give it a shot because it definitely is going to be quite a learning experience. And last but not least, like our Facebook page, we will post articles related to data science as well as updates on our convention there. All right, and just to wrap things up, just to give a recap of all the important details. So the iidata Data Science Convention will be held on May 21st from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and it is going to be at the UC Davis Conference Center. All right, so if you are interested in participating in any of the competitions, we will be having sort of a networking team building activity that's going to be happening right after this. So after the Q&A, you can just meet up with some people who you would be interested in competing with. Okay, so Q&A right now. Do any of you have any questions so far? Yes.
Are there any workshops prior to the convention?
Yes, so something, it's not necessarily more of a workshop, it's like mock competitions. So we had the timed analysis competition that we mentioned earlier, and just to give you a feel about what it's going to be like, we're going to have 2 sessions. One of them is more of an overview, it's going to be explaining, and a mini version. The second one is going to be a legit copy of what it's going to, a shortened copy of what the timed analysis competition is going to be like. So that is when you're actually given the data set and you're going to give an experience of what it's going to be like on the day of. Yeah, but yes.
And just some add-on to this, so these 2 mock competition actually have prize also. They have $15 money prize for each competition. And another add-on is, for those 2 competition, for the prediction competition and also the on-site time competition, we said that the price will be $200 money price, but that's at least. So we will be add on to this amount time by time, and you will see our update. You can go up to 1,000, you can go up to 2,000 at least. So feel free to tell your friend that it's a good chance to get some money.
Yeah, and besides money, it's definitely something great to write on your resume, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah, but definitely we're going to be announcing those mock competitions as well. So they'll be happening, I believe, in April 21st?
April 21st and May 12th.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely check those out. Those would be probably considered the workshops that we will be holding. Yes, back there? Either one or... So...
Well, the predictive modeling competition is aimed mostly towards people who already have a good idea of what they're working on, but the timed analysis competition is open to all skill levels. That's how much you know, I think, will be taken into account, and there's probably going to be prizes for beginner teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and then something also we didn't mention is that if you're not at that comfortable level yet of working with in the competitions, we're also going to be holding this exciting sort of like non-competitive form, which is going to be one of the hands-on workshop is what we're going to call it. And that is pretty much where you're giving sort of like a mock version of it. You're going to be collaborating with different people who are attending and just breaking down the data set in general. So if you don't want to participate in the competition, but you still want to, try your skills and maybe try the next year, that is something that you can look forward to. Any other questions?
Is there going to be like a schedule of like when the different things are? Because I'm interested in a couple of different options.
Yes, it will release. I believe it will release shortly because we actually planned it all out already. But we are deciding our handbook. We will have a handbook for iidata. So you will be getting one, and we also have poster posting around, and you definitely know more. Yes.
Yes. We'll definitely be posting all of this on the website.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Is there a suggested attire for the conference?
So it really is up to you. I would say stay classy, but maybe business casual, or if you want casual is fine. But there may be a few companies going around, so if you want to look good, but at the same time, just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're there for just like general admission, just attending the workshops, then there's probably no need to dress up.
Yeah.
But if you are a competitor, it'd be nice if you could put in a little bit of effort. Just
Okay. And I saw this. Yes.
Is the PA students going to be from UC Davis?
They will be mostly from UC Davis. Yes.
And we are inviting other schools to attend this as well, like Sac State, SFU, and Cal as well. So you might see some different faces.
Yes.
Any other questions? Yes.
For the timed competition where you have the 4 hours, are you supposed to present what you did at the end? Or
Yes.
give like a verbal presentation, or you just give it to the judges and they...
So for the 4 hour for the on-site time one, you'll be getting that 4 hour to analyze your data, and then you also have to prepare for a small speech, like a really short speech. Like, you don't need to prepare a report. You can just go through your code and explain how you did it and how you try them, and then the judge will be downstairs and listen. Probably 5 to 10 minutes. It won't be long. Yes.
Yeah, the judging for the time analysis competition is going to be very subjective.
Yes.
It's going to depend a lot on how creative you were and what things you caught that other people didn't and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Any other questions? All right. Well, if anything does come up a little bit later, feel free to email us. I don't know if we wrote our email on here, but it is also on our website. But our email is teamiidata@gmail.com. More information is also found on our website and Facebook page. So if anything does come up, feel free to email us with any questions. And now, I guess, begins our team building event. So if any of you have questions, just bring them up here, or you can just talk to each other, talk to us, and yeah, I guess.
The website's iidata.net.